Hey boys and girls, Pastor Jason here, and tonight we are continuing on our series, Defend Your Faith. We're on week 3, and every Wednesday night we're going through defending your faith, knowing about your faith, so you can clearly explain it to those people who ask you, and you can share it with people who want to know. So tonight we're talking about parables. Now I'm pretty sure you've heard that word either in Fort Faith, or maybe your parents or Pastor Wendell, someone's talked about a parable, and maybe you didn't have a really good understanding of a parable. Well, Jesus, he used parables all the time. And all they were little short stories that we could relate to as human beings. Because the kingdom of heaven is big, it's mysterious, God is infinite, we're finite, we don't understand a lot of things about what God says, but that's okay because Jesus would break it down for us so we could understand. And he would talk about lost sheep, lost coin, he'd talk about how heaven is like a pearl, he'd talk about fields and sowers, he'd talk about a lot of human things and relate it to heaven so we could understand. Not everybody got it though. Some people were like, what are you talking about, Jesus? This story doesn't make sense. What are you talking about, merchants and fish and sheep? Like, what does this mean? So some people just didn't get it because their hearts were hardened. But if you opened your mind and let God talk to you, you would understand it. So in Matthew 13, and verses 44 through 46, just in 2 verses, Jesus gives 2 quick parables, and we're going to go over them really quick. The first one is about a man who found a field, and he found buried treasure in this field. And it was a great treasure. So what did he do? He sold everything he had to buy the field so that treasure would be his. The second one is a man found a pearl out in the ocean. A great pearl is priceless. He sold everything for this pearl just so he could have it. Now, what does that mean? That these 2 men sold everything they had for these possessions? Well, you should understand that in these stories, we're the merchants. We're the person who bought the field. We're the person who found the pearl. We're the person who found the buried treasure. And you have to understand that Jesus is not saying you can buy your way into heaven. Nobody can buy their way into heaven. And one interesting thing is Jesus can't contradict himself because, Jesus is the Word, and the Word can't contradict himself. So think about that a little bit. So Jesus wasn't contradicting himself. What he was saying that if you find eternal salvation in Jesus, if you find Jesus, you should be willing to give up everything. Your possessions, your toys, your clothes, everything. Even today as an adult, if Jesus asked me to give up my job, even Miss Karina, to find him, to seek him first, I would do it because it's such a great treasure. And you have to remember that too. And that's what he was trying to explain in these parables, that no matter what happens in life, you must be willing to give up everything to choose eternal salvation. Because when you think about it, the things here on earth, they're going to pass away one day. All the money we make, all the toys we have, one day those will go away. But salvation through Jesus is forever. It never ends. And that is the greatest treasure. So boys and girls, that's really what parables did. They explain things to our human level so we can understand about the kingdom of heaven. So the next time you hear Pastor Steve or Pastor Karina or Pastor Wendell talk about a parable, now you'll know it's a short story that we can understand. So boys and girls, as we close, we have the same memory verse every week, so let's go over again. 1 Peter 3:15 says, "But in your hearts, revere Christ as Lord. Always be prepared to give an answer to everyone who asks you to give the reason for the hope that you have. But do this with gentleness and respect." So boys and girls, that's week 3 of Defending Your Faith. We'll see you next week.